Hello, I'm Lee Bernick, Dean of the Greenspun College of Urban Affairs, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Urban Report. Today we're going to be focusing on activities by the university that go out into the community. And my first guest today is Margaret Reese. I know her as Peg. I think everybody on campus knows her as Peg, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't know if everybody would answer to Margaret. I mean,
No.
do you answer to Margaret?
Seldom.
Seldom, okay. So Peg is the Vice Provost for Educational Outreach, and but before being the Vice President, before that title and that job, you were a geologist, and you got your degree at Kansas, right?
University
your
of
PhD at
Kansas.
University of Kansas, but came out west. But you're from the West, I think, originally.
From the West, absolutely.
And was it you were part of the geologist, and then you were in charge of the Public Lands Institute, I think, just
Yes.
before coming over to. Is that correct?
That's right. That's
okay.
right.
So you're in charge of educational outreach. What does educational outreach do? I think we have a chart that we might bring up to show you the different kinds of programs. There's a whole host of programs that come in under educational outreach.
That's right.
I think that we see the different divisions there. There's
Yeah, we basically have 7 programs within the division, but all the programs really speak to the community. We're integrated and we're connected completely with the mission of the university for research, education, and outreach. But we extend that mission and those resources to the community so that we reach a much broader population than the traditional university classes on their 2-semester schedule. And we help facilitate learning both for credit classes and non-credit classes.
And so you're out in the community in all these different programs. In general, how many people do you have contact with? Do you have an idea about what those numbers look like?
On average, the division touches about 60,000 students per year. And some of those are for credit classes, but none of them are in the traditional credit classes that we see during the fall and the spring semesters.
Okay. So, and you'd like to think of all these people that you have outreach as students. I mean, there are some programs that are I mean, the Cannon Center, for example.
Right.
You want to talk a little bit about
sure.
the Cannon Center?
The Cannon Center, we have I would say two special programs. The Cannon Survey Center, which provides a service to the community in doing surveys, whether it be for state, local, federal government, or for the university. So we do faculty surveys, we do research surveys for funded research on campus, and any student, any faculty member, or people in the public can come to the survey center and say, I need a survey of this particular information. And we will provide that. We'll do the reports, the analysis, and really reach out now nationally to do those surveys and have an incredibly wonderful reputation both on quality and efficiency.
Okay,
for
good.
those.
And then the other one is the Public Lands, I think,
The
right?
Public Lands Institute, which is fully funded through federal programs right now, and it's been around for 6 years. It has netted something close to $30 million for the university. Currently, we have about 6 projects that are running through the Public Lands Institute, and that institute in itself has a research component for management of public lands and to help train and facilitate that management through the federal agencies. It has an outreach component to disadvantaged people to try to get more people to come to the public lands and use them because they are theirs, and also a training or educational mission where we hope to train the public on things like don't litter. We have a huge campaign going for Don't Trash Nevada. And also to get children out of doors, out of the city, out of the urban core, and get them into special environments so that they can learn leadership skills, outdoor skills, confidence. And we work with the Paradise School here on campus. And what we found is when we take children from, for instance, Paradise School, they get involved in outdoor education. When they come back to school, they get better grades, they have more attention, and they become leaders in their own classrooms. So a very, very positive outreach program.
Okay. I think we have only a short time, but I want to talk a little bit more about that, and then we'll come back some other time.
Okay.
But let's talk about it. I know that you have a unique thing with the public lands where we have the wilderness, someone from the Department of Interior. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Gary Owie, who is the chief of National Park Service Wilderness Stewardship Project, came to us from Washington, D.C., where the office is normally housed, because of the Public Lands Institute, because of the setting of Las Vegas particularly, has more wilderness around it than any other city. And he can work throughout the West on all the wilderness areas, assisting different Park Service, internships, students, outreach, and he and the National Park Service chose Las Vegas and UNLV mainly because of Public Lands Institute and what we facilitated, but because of Las Vegas. Easy in and out. People can have conferences here, we can provide the resources for them, and we can integrate with their work.
Okay, and so I think this is important for people to understand that UNLV is connected with the national government. This is not through any earmarks or anything like that, just because of the quality of our programs, right?
Absolutely.
And we're reaching out to the community and providing some really unique kinds of activities. And I think it's pretty special to have someone from the Department of Interior here to help us. And I think that it's really interesting about all your special programs in Public Lands Institute. Let me just touch, we just have another minute or so, let me just touch, you also have a bunch of programs, several programs for senior citizens. Can you just mention that in a very quick fashion?
The major one is Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at UNLV. It's funded by the Osher Foundation, and we're the largest one in the United States. We have over 1,000 members, which are really targeted for retired and semi-retired folks who want to gain new knowledge, explore knowledge in a university setting. It's member-run, member-driven, and driven by volunteers.
Okay, and for people who might be watching the show who are interested in this, how do they find out more about the program?
Go on the UNLV website to educationaloutreach.edu.
Okay, so we can, they can contact and go to UNLV.edu, look for the continuing ad, and in there they'll find
Osher Lifelong Learning Institute.
Osher Lifelong Learning.
Known as OLLI, O-L-L-I.
Okay, and another program for senior citizens that our continuing education program is working on.
Well,
right?
we have a number of smaller ones. We have courses where aerobics, yoga, plantings. So plenty of other types of programs for seniors as well.
Okay, well that's good. We have to cut this short. We're going to have you back to talk more about educational outreach and all the wonderful programs. But you know, I'm glad that you were able to come for a few minutes with us and talk about the unit. And we're going to have to take a break now.
Okay.
Okay.
That's great.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Peg.
you.
Take care.
For others, it may have just been a summer job. But for me, it was training. Now I'm an Air Force pararescueman, and my job is to save lives. Make the right choices today, and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Winston, just one more inning, Grandma.
Ever notice how many things today kids can do without actually moving? A whole lot of things their parents used to do the hard way. So many kids' activities today seem to leave out the activity part, which makes exercise even more important for children. In fact, new research tells us the best time to enhance bone development is during childhood and adolescence. And just getting children to walk an extra 35 minutes a day could spare them the pain of thinning bones later in life. Healthy bones come from healthy habits. Encourage your kids to get up, get out, and get moving.
Hello. Hey, Grandma, how about another grape soda?
A public service message on building strong bones for kids from the Pediatric Orthopedic Society of North America and the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
I want to welcome you back to this edition of the Urban Report. I'm pleased to have as our next guest Jessica Word. Jessica was just promoted recently to Associate Professor in Public Administration. She's here not because she was promoted, although that's okay. I mean, we're glad that you were promoted, and congratulations. But Jessica is going to be in charge of a new initiative that the School of Environmental and Public Affairs has created. We're partnering with the City of Las Vegas, and we're going to the historic 5th Street School. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure.
First, what's the 5th Street School?
So the 5th Street School is also known as the Old Las Vegas High School. It's right across the street from the federal courthouse downtown, the Lloyd George Courthouse downtown. It is, a lot of people see it driving by and sort of wonder what it is. It's got sort of a beautiful red tile roof and a white arched building, sort of a 1930s style Spanish structure. And it used to be a high school. And that school has been refurbished by the City of Las Vegas and is actually a part of the National Historic Registry. And it is now the home of one of our new community projects here at UNLV.
Okay, so let's talk about that new community project. What's going to be happening down at the 5th Street School?
So one of the first most visible things we're going to be doing in the fall is we're actually going to have classes down there related to nonprofit and also community classes. So there'll be a class taught by Roy Reed. There'll also be a class taught by Julie Murray, who was the founder of Three Square and is now with the Moonridge Group. And then all of our other nonprofit graduate level courses will also be there in the fall. And then we're also going to have a series of lectures and programs for the community, mostly in the fall focusing on nonprofits and governments, but eventually hopefully expanding out some to other areas as well.
So it sounds like we're going to, the real thing that we're going to do is have a major push in terms of nonprofit management. Our nonprofit management efforts are going to be housed down at the 5th Street School.
Correct.
Right? and Julie Murray, you mentioned Julie. Let's just talk for a second about Julie Murray is going to be teaching what kind of class? She says she's teaching a class. Well, what's the course?
So she's teaching a class on philanthropy, where she's actually going to bring in philanthropists that have done major donations in our community and the nonprofits that they work with, and have them sort of co-present about the process of philanthropy and how to create philanthropy in the community and what that looks like.
Okay, and that's for our graduate students, right?
Yes.
It's and this is for a graduate credit. This is not a non-credit program or something. This is for
Correct.
graduate students.
So the courses primarily serve two programs. The one is the Master's in Public Administration program, which has a concentration in nonprofit management. We also have a graduate certificate program, which is about a one-year program that is sort of half of a master's degree, and a lot of our students go on from there to go on and get the MPA degree.
Okay, and so, but one of the things that we're going to try to do is go beyond just the certificate programs, and we're actually trying to help the nonprofit agency. Of course, we help them by training their staff, but
Right.
we're talking about direct kinds of services. I know you're doing a study right now with the Lindsay, isn't it, with the Lindsay Foundation, the Lindsay Institute, I should say.
Right.
You want to talk about that for a minute?
So one of our first things we're going to do in the fall is we're focusing on actually measuring the economic impact of the nonprofit sector here in Nevada. Nationally, the nonprofit sector is about 10% of U.S. employment. So what we want to do is kind of drill down into Nevada to sort of understand their role in our economy. One of the unique things a lot of people don't know is that over the course of the recession, a lot of the nonprofits have continued to grow in terms of employment while the other two sectors have shrunk. So this can be really a source of strength for our economy.
For the economy, and of course, by definition, for
the community.
Las Vegas, the community, and the state of Nevada.
Yeah, and we're just talking about their economic impact, not their social impact.
Their social impact. But so that's a study that you're doing with Lindsay. But I also know that the 5th Street School and the program and nonprofit, we're going to be partnering with a couple of other things. So tell us one of the partners that you have. I think we're partnering with United Way. Is that right?
So United Way is one of our partners. They're going to have part of their volunteer center outreach efforts down at the Fifth Street School. Some of our other partners include the Young Nonprofit Professionals Network. They will also have a desk there. And then our civic engagement and outreach offices that are part of student life that connect students to volunteer opportunities. And then finally, the Alliance for Nevada Nonprofits are also going to be working with us.
So we just have a minute or so, but
Sure.
the United Way volunteer people, what are we going to be doing? Is it that people can come in and say, I want to volunteer? Or is it that agencies can come and say, we need volunteers?
Both.
Both.
So their job in the community, as part of their mission with United Way, is to actually connect both agencies and volunteers to opportunities that are meaningful to those volunteers and that are helpful to those agencies.
Okay. And so we're helping United Way in the community, but I think it's important that we recognize, and I want to thank you for your efforts on this, that we are reaching out into the community. This is another effort by UNLV to reach out into the community, and you are responsible for this in the Fifth Street School, and we're really proud and excited about this new effort. And I want to thank you. I'm going to have you come back again when we can talk some more in the fall about some of the activities.
Okay, great.
Okay, so thank you for coming, and I think we're going to take a break here, and we're going to have two more guests talking about their efforts in the community. So let's take a break right now, please. Thank you.
What would it be?
I'd love to see Paris.
I like to see cupcakes falling from the sky.
My daughter, married and happy.
I want to see things the way I used to.
Chances are, someone you love may one day be affected by macular degeneration or glaucoma. Log on to seeabettertomorrow.org or call 1-800-437-2423 to learn about glaucoma and macular degeneration. Call 1-800-437-2423 or log on to seeabettertomorrow.org.
I just want to see more of the things I love.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life. I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults, and one person dies from melanoma every hour. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Something's not right.
My first symptoms were
constant tingling in my toes.
My legs, sometimes they'll go numb.
I had double vision. They said you have multiple sclerosis.
Well, the beginning is the hardest time.
Kind of had to get a grasp on reality.
I had to adapt and change very rapidly.
I had to learn how to drive with my hands. Yeah, that was interesting.
I was a dancer. I don't see walking the way I walk any different than doing a dance. It just looks different. It's a different dance.
You see me have an off day, it doesn't take away from who I am.
A symptom may cause you not to be able to do that anymore. And at one point, I wasn't able to do any of those.
But I would exercise every day.
Since I've been cycling, it's definitely helped my walking.
To make a lot of changes in my life and just adapt to it.
I'm going to acknowledge its presence. I'm not going to discount it. But at the same time, I'm going to try my best to not let it stop me.
It's a fantastic opportunity to be working together with a common goal of curing MS, and sharing is the key.
Hello, I want to welcome you back to this edition of the Urban Report. And in our efforts to talk about how the university is helping to reach out in the community, we have two other guests, and they're here, and they are with AmeriCorps. The first guest is Fateh Abdullah, is that right?
Correct.
And then Kyle Griffith, and they are with AmeriCorps, and they're here in Las Vegas, but you're not from here,
No.
right? So where are you from?
New York.
In New York. Where in New York?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. And Kyle, you're from?
Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan, the west.
The west
Coast,
side.
Yeah.
And how did you get to Las Vegas? Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about AmeriCorps. How did you get into AmeriCorps? I mean, did you think about doing this? This was not a lifelong kind of ambition to be a part of AmeriCorps, right?
Not really.
Not really.
Not
So
really.
Tell us a little bit about
Well,
how
I wanted to get involved in nonprofits, and I figured this would be a great way to do it without having to go to grad school.
without going to grad school. Okay. and
Got my feet wet.
okay, and we're going to come back to this thing. How about you, Kyle?
Well, to be honest, I had looked at the program. It's a VISTA program, so AmeriCorps has 3 separate focuses. And VISTA is really like the indirect service. And I wanted to go work in Hawaii. So I filled out an application, and they recruited me and said, you know what, we could use you in Nevada rather than Hawaii.
Okay. So now, you originally heard about this. How did you hear about AmeriCorps?
A friend of mine actually told me about it. I was looking into the Peace Corps, and then someone mentioned the AmeriCorps.
Okay, and you looked into this. I mean, did you purposely look into it?
No, it was like one of those late night things when you're on the internet. You're like, what am I going to do with my life?
Okay. So what are you doing now? You're in AmeriCorps, and they recruited you, right? I mean, you got in. How did you get to Las Vegas? I mean, did they tell you here's where you're going? I mean, after you sign up, or is
The people who recruited us, it's not AmeriCorps that recruits you, it's the organization that recruits you. And organizations fill out a grant, and if they are awarded the grant, they receive us. So we're sort of in-kind donations for them.
From AmeriCorps?
From AmeriCorps.
Okay, and so there's somebody from here that said we need two
Exactly.
young guys,
Exactly.
right? Is that it?
And that somebody is Ann, the Alliance for Nevada Nonprofits.
And the Alliance for, for Nevada Nonprofits. And did they say, okay, what attracted the two of you to them? I mean, what is it that you're supposed to be doing for them, and what skill set? I mean, what's your undergraduate degree in?
Creative writing.
Creative writing, okay.
And mine's in television and digital media.
Television and digital media?
Yeah.
Where from?
Ferris State University.
Okay, all right. And so how did you get from television and creative writing into this Alliance for Nevada Nonprofits?
I could say it's a rough economy. But I wanted to do something good for the public good, and
so
this just aligned.
what do they want you to do? I mean, I guess that's the question.
Okay, so I do web design and traffic, which is helping nonprofits build a website and then drive traffic to them. So usually that's a very expensive process, but if you join ANN, we can provide it at a very low cost to nonprofits.
Okay, so you're working on developing websites for them, right?
Yeah.
And we'll come back to that. And let me ask you what you're doing.
I'm working on their marketing.
On their
That's
marketing.
where their creative writing comes in.
Okay.
And fundraising online.
And fundraising online?
Correct.
Okay, so let me go back and forth. So you're doing websites. Have you done websites for nonprofits?
Not before this.
Not before
No,
this?
I took a lot of graphic design classes in college.
Okay.
And so that's kind of playing into graphically like designing a website or doing a logo or rebranding. That's really what I've done so far.
Okay, and have you worked with some nonprofits here already?
Up in Reno.
Up
yeah.
in Reno?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll let that happen. That's okay. So, but you're housed here, but you're helping throughout the state.
I've helped out a few local nonprofits like HELP and the United Way of Southern Nevada. Just doing some logo work.
Okay, some logo work and things.
Right.
And what have you been doing so far?
Well, prior to this, my transition to come here was I was working with this nonprofit called Cancer 101, and what they do is they help others who are in the early stages of detection of cancer. They provide them with ample information, and their whole mission is to, through education, that they can overcome. And I also worked with this childhood enrichment program called Purple Pegasus. They were both internships, and this just happened to fall into place. And what I'm doing now is as far as marketing and fundraising, I'm working with Nevada Gives, and they're gearing up for the 2013 Nevada Big Give. And I'm helping them with their marketing and their email marketing. Altogether, I'm just helping them with their campaign. I'm their go-to guy. I'm also working with Nevada Energy, has a partnership with Nevada Volunteers. And this January, they're going to have a volunteer summit. So I'm helping them with their writing their copy and their email marketing.
Okay. So you're working with nonprofits here in the state, and you are down at the 5th Street School, right?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Currently, we have an office in the Greenspun College.
Yes.
Yeah, but we
Okay.
will be transitioning at the end of August or somewhere
Right,
in
yeah.
August.
We are hosting, the School of Environmental and Public Affairs
Exactly.
is hosting you, and they're hosting you through, in a sense, their program in nonprofit management. And when we get everything settled at the 5th Street School, we have to actually get telephone lines and everything, and we're moving down there. We just got the contract signed and everything, but we're moving down there. You'll be down there, right? And
Yes.
that's it. And you'll be
Yes.
helping in again, this is a wonderful partnership. I have to tell the community, a partnership between a national organization, AmeriCorps, a local nonprofit, and the university. And I appreciate your time here. We've got to cut this short. We'll have you come back again
Definitely.
in the near future to see what you've been doing throughout this year. I want to thank you all for watching the Urban Report. I want to thank our guests. If you have any opinions or ideas or suggestions for the Urban Report, please contact us at UNLV.edu, the Greenspun College of Urban Affairs. Thank you again for watching this edition of the Urban Report.